Hello everyone, this is Manoj and welcome back to my YouTube channel. In today's video, I'm going to discuss about one of the most important topic of ASP.NET Core Web API, which is JWT. What is JWT? JSON Web Tokens, commonly known as JWT, is an open standard to pass data between client and server, and that enables you to transmit data back and forth between the server and the consumer in a secure manner. As you can see on our screen, we have a client, we have a server. So from this client end, we need to pass some information like username and password, or you can say email and password, and that goes to our server, and then server validates username and password. If that is a valid user, then it creates a secret key, which is a JWT, and returns back that token to the client. And then client stored that JWT token, and again, then client try to access our API resources, whether it is a HTTP GET or POST, PUT, DELETE. Then with that request, client needs to pass the same JWT token to access the API resources. All right. JWT token basically is a combination of three sections. One is header. Header provides metadata about the type of data and the algorithm to be used to encrypt the data that is to be transferred. Second, we have payload. The payload represents the actual information in JSON format that is to be transmitted over the wire. Third and last is signature. The signature adheres to the JSON web signature specification, and it is used to verify the integrity of data transferred over the wire. All right. So till now, enough theoretical knowledge. Let's start the practical approach by creating a new project. So for this video, I'm using Visual Studio 2022. You can use any version of Visual Studio which will support .NET Core. So from here, we will select .NET Core Web API and click on Next. Let me give name JWT token example. And let me change the location. Click on Next. So it will create a .NET Core. Let me uncheck this HTTPS create. So this will create our .NET 6.0 project. So our project has been created. As you can see, this is the default page. Let's close it and open the Solution Explorer. All right. So this is the default file and folder structure. Now, the first step is we have to install one package. So right click on it, manage NuGet packages, and go to the browse. And here we have to type Microsoft ASP.NET Core Authentication.jwt bearer. All right, so select it. Make sure you will choose the right version. So I'm going to choose 6.0.0 and install. If you will select the higher version, then it will say that is the compatibility issue. All right, so make sure you will select the 6.0.0 version. All right, so the package has been installed. Let's close it. Now the second step is we have to register our JWT authentication. So open this program.cs. Before that, we have to import our namespaces. So using Microsoft.ASP.NET Core .authentication.jwt bearer, and second one is using Microsoft dot identity model dot tokens. So we have imported our namespaces. Now in this builder, so builder dot services dot add authentication, and here we have to pass JWT bearer defaults dot authentication scheme and dot add bearer token options. So here we have to pass some parameters to create the JWT token. So the object as options dot token validation parameters is equal to new. Now the first one is validate issuer is equal to true, validate audience true, and validate lifetime and now valid user, sorry, valid issuer, and that we will take from our app settings. So I'll come create that JWT configuration in app settings.json. So builder dot configuration, and now we have to pass the app settings key, which will be JWT colon issuer. Now valid audience, again that we will take from our app settings. Don't worry, I'll give the enough information in app settings also. So that will be coming from audience, and the last one is issuer signing key, new symmetric security key, and again we will use our encoding. So encoding small n. For that we have to use this namespace system.text. So encoding .utf8.getBytes, and this will come from our app settings also. So let's copy this and change the key as key. We will give the key with the property name key. All right. So our authentication parameters is complete. Now below here we have to use app dot use authentication, save. So we are done with our program.cs. Now let me tell you what we have these parameters. So what is this? This valid issuer that validates the server that generates the token. Now the second one, valid audience, it basically validates the recipient of the token is authorized to receive. Now this validate lifetime, this check if the token is not expired and the signing key of the issuer is valid or not. All right. Now valid issuer, and we also have a signing key. So basically signing key validates the signature of the token, and additionally we have given this issuer audience. Let me give these information in app settings.json. So go to Solution Explorer and open the app settings.json, and here let's add another key. So JWT, and inside this first let's copy this issuer, and also we have to pass this audience, and finally we have to give another property key. So let me give, let's say I'm giving my website name connectedprogrammer.com. I'm giving the same value for audience, and the key, let's say ABCD, any key, the strict key. All right, you can also use some online unique key generators. So we are done with our app settings.json also. Now we have to create a user model to pass username and password. So create new folder, models, and inside this model, let's add a new class called users. And inside this user, I'm going to pass two properties. So shortcut is prop tab. It will generate your property. So the first one is username. Again, prop tab, data type, and the name of property password. Password. So our model is complete. Now let's create a controller which will authenticate this user and then generate the token. All right. Now in the controllers, right click on it, add controller, click on API, API empty. Let's give a name login controller. And first of all, let's create the constructor. So shortcut is CTOR, then hit tab. It will create your constructor. And now we have to pass I configuration. So private I configuration config, and here also I configuration, and here underscore config is equal to configuration. So our constructor is ready. Now let's create a method which will authenticate the user. All right. So private users control dot. We need to use this namespace because this class is inside this models. Now we can access this user authenticate user, and this will accept this user's class user. If user dot username is equal admin and user dot password equal 12345, then return users underscore user is equal to null, and then underscore user is equal to new user, and here we will pass username is equal to manojdeshwal and password. Okay, we will only use this one, and finally return underscore user. I have created a method with authenticate user, and this will accept the properties from our front end, whether you will hit this method from your React.js, AngularJS, or from your Postman. So it will accept the parameters, and it will check if this username is admin and password is 12345, then it will return the actual user with the name Manoj Deshwal. Otherwise, it will return user as null. All right. Here I'm using the dummy values, but later on I will connect this information with the database and a table, and we will see the real users. All right. But for the time being, I'm using the static values. Now let's create a generate token method which will generate the token. So private string generate token, and this will take again users parameter. So first where security key, new symmetric security key. Same, let's go to program.js and copy this. Instead of this builder dot configuration, we have to use underscore config, and where credentials, new signing credentials, security key, security algorithms dot. Now we have to pass, you can also pass this 256 or 512. I'm going to use this 256 algorithm. So now let's create the token, and the token will take our issuer and our audience. All right, we can also pass the expire and credentials. So let's create our token. So where token is equal to new JWT security token. Here we have to pass some values. So the first value we will take this JWT issuer, copy, and instead of this builder configuration we have to pass our underscore config object, and if I press comma we have to pass the audience. Let me again copy this and pass the same and change the key as audience, and let's pass null. And after that we have to pass the time, so expires datetime dot now dot add minutes, I'm going to give 1 minute time for the expiration. And after that we have to pass the signing credentials. So our token is complete. Now let's return this. So return new JWT security token handler dot write token and pass this token object. So basically it will create and return the token through this method. Now we have created our authenticated user, also generate token. Now let's create a login method which will accept the parameters of this user and that will generate the token. So for that let's use allow anonymous tag, so it will bypass the authentication, and that will be a HTTP post method. So public iAction result login, and this will take users as parameter. iAction result response is equal to unauthorized, and where user is equal to authenticate user, and pass the user which we are getting from the parameter. So if user underscore is not equal null, then where token is equal to generate token based on our user, and response is equal to OK new, and we will pass token as token. Finally return response. Save. So in our login controller, we have created a login method which will accept the users as parameter, and then it will pass this user to our authenticate user. If that is valid, then it will again go and generate the token. All right. So we have done all the things. Now let's try to build the solution and run the project and try to create the token. So we'll succeeded. Let's hit this. So our Swagger is loading. Perfect. Swagger has been loaded. Now let's click on this login, try it out, and let's go to the project and pass these values. So admin and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Execute. Let's see if we get the token. Perfect. We have got the token. All right. So let's create another controller and then we'll try to use our JWT token. Add, right click on the controllers, add controller, API empty. Let me giving it name employee controller. So inside this, let's create first HTTP get public string get data, and this will return simple string authenticated with JWT. And let's decorate this with authorize tag, and let me also give a route get data. Let's copy this and paste. Let me change this details. So this is without authorize, and let's also create one more HTTP post, again public string add user, and this will take users class as parameter, so user, and return user added with username plus user dot username. Save, Control Shift B. So let's build this project. Build succeeded. Try to run. So our Swagger has been loaded. Perfect. So first let's try to generate the token. So try it out, and we have to pass these values as admin and 1 2 3 4 5. Execute. So token has been generated. Let's copy this value, and now to test these APIs we have to use our Postman. So open the Postman. So first of all, let's try to get this. So try it out, execute. This will give you some information. So this is our URL. So let's copy, paste it over here. And in the headers, we have to pass this token. Let's copy this token again. And in the key, we have to pass authorization. And in the value, use bearer and the token value. See, I'm using one outdated Postman, so I don't have any bearer automatically in this authorization. All right, but if you're using the latest Postman, so you don't need to pass this bearer. You will find this in authorization. All right, so now try to send this. So you can see authenticated with JWT. Now, if I remove this, let's say if I uncheck this, now this is not considering this bearer token. If I try to send this again, so you see I'm getting 401 unauthorized. All right, so let me include this. So authenticated with JWT, and if I try to execute the another one which is details, try it out. For that we don't have a need any authentication, so we will get the same response. All right, without any JWT token. Now let's try to execute this post. So try it out, execute. So let's copy this URL, go to Postman, create a post request. So URL in the headers, authorization, bearer, space, and your authentication. Let's copy, paste, send. In the body, we have to pass this body. So again, from the Swagger, copy this body, paste, and let me change the value manojdeshwal. Okay, pass 1 2 3 4 5. Click on send. You see, user added with username Manoj Deshwal. All right, so this is how we can generate our JWT token, and also we can enable our APIs to allow this authentication to authenticate our request, whether it is get, post, put, delete. All right, so any API which you want to obey the authentication rule, you just need to decorate that with authorize, and it will automatically use your JWT token authentication. All right, so I hope this video is useful for you and you have a clear idea how to create a JWT token and how to use it. All right. And one thing I want you to do some R&D for this login controller. Here I'm using the static values. I want you to create a database connection, and from there you have to pass these values from the front end. And instead of matching these static values, I want you to match these values from the database values using stored procedure or using entity framework. That is totally up to you which approach you want to use, you can use. But instead of this static approach, try to use the database driven approach. All right. And also for this employee, for this add user, try to insert these details into database again with this database driven approach. All right. So this is about today's video, and again I'm going to do one announcement. On 15th February I'm going to launch my React.js course, and for the first 100 users the cost of this course will be 999 only. The actual cost of my course is 3500, but for the 100 users the cost will be 999 only. I'm leaving a course link in the description. You can follow that link and pre-enroll yourself. All right. So I'll see you in the next one. Thanks for watching. Take care. Bye bye.